Hello! Welcome to today's Explainer. Man, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. If you're focused on learning how to truly leverage artificial intelligence in a professional setting, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're making a massive evolution. We're stepping away from casually messing around with those basic consumer AI tools, and we're graduating to mastering an absolute enterprise-grade powerhouse. We're talking about Spark Assist, which was introduced in April 2026 for S&P Global and CRISIL. And listen, this isn't just about learning which new buttons to click. No, it's a fundamental shift in how we work, how we think, and how we protect our corporate data.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our flight plan for today. First, the Enterprise AI Engine. Second, speaking the AI's language. Third, the prompting framework. Fourth, calibrating for quality. And finally, those non-negotiable security guardrails. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the Enterprise AI Engine. It's time to strip away the magic and really understand the machinery we're dealing with. To put it simply, the core engine of generative AI is a large language model, or LLM. But here is the absolutely crucial thing you have to understand right out of the gate. It is a powerful text prediction engine. It is not a thinking machine. You really just want to think of it as, well, autocomplete on steroids. Its main job is mathematically predicting the next most likely word or token in a sequence. It doesn't actually know facts the way you or I do, or the way a database does. It literally just recognizes and reproduces structural patterns based on its training data. And honestly, understanding that limitation is your very first step to actually mastering it. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference in the tools we have out there. So up top, you've got your retail car. These are the public tools, built for mass market appeal. Sure, they're fast, they're flashy, but guess what? Your inputs might actually be used to train their models. That is exactly why we never use public tools for our corporate work. No way. Then, on the bottom, look at Spark Assist. This is our armored truck. It's purpose-built for us, prioritizing ultimate security, absolute privacy, and total control. It ensures our proprietary data never, ever leaks into the public domain. Let's look a little bit deeper under the hood here. Retail AI? It feels like a totally finished consumer experience, right? It's got built-in code interpreters, web browsing, this invisible safety halo straight out of the box. But Enterprise GPT on Azure, which is what powers tools like Spark Assist, is a fundamentally different beast. It is an incredibly powerful raw engine. So to get it to do things like parse PDFs or browse internal data, we literally have to build secure data connectors, custom workflows, and explicit guardrails ourselves. It takes real management and deliberate engineering on our end to make it both highly effective and totally safe. Moving into Section 2, speaking the AI's language. Let's talk about that communication gap.
I mean, have you ever typed a request into an AI and gotten back something that's just completely unhelpful? We've all been there. Well, the root of the problem is this huge contrast between how we communicate and how AI understands. See, as humans, we rely heavily on implied meaning. We use emotional tone, shared workplace context, unspoken norms. If you ask a colleague for a quick note on the market, they automatically know your audience and your preferences, right? But AI operates entirely on explicitly written instructions, literal data, stated formats. It has zero shared context unless you explicitly type it out and provide it.
So the crucial takeaway here is this quote. This is where most errors are born. They are not model failures, they are thinking failures. It's just so easy to blame the tool when it hands you a bad output, isn't it? But more often than not, the AI is literally just reflecting back a really vague set of instructions. To succeed here, we really have to pivot our mindset. We have to take accountability and become extraordinarily clear communicators.
Let's see how this actually plays out in our daily workflow. We've got two distinct approaches here. Over on the left is the lazy prompt. It's kind of a tangled mess. This happens when you basically delegate the actual thinking to the AI, just sort of assuming it's gonna figure it out. But here's the catch. When structure is missing, the AI just invents one, and it optimizes for sounding fluent and confident rather than actually being useful to you. Now look at the right, the structured prompt. Here, you decide the solution approach first. You break the work into logical steps, and you define exactly what good looks like. The result? You actually get an output that's incredibly close to what you need. It's a real game changer.
And this brings us right to the golden rule. Generative AI is an amplifier, it's not a judge. It absolutely does not replace your human judgment. If you feed it weak, tangled thinking, it's just going to hand you back amplified confusion. But on the flip side, if you feed it strong, structured thinking, like a neatly wound spool of thread, it transforms that into amplified value, spitting out a beautiful, highly usable output. Remember, the AI is not a mind reader. It literally just reflects the exact clarity or ambiguity that you give it.
That takes us to Section 3, the prompting framework. Time to put on your manager hat and control that output. To actually control the output, you've got to adopt this three-step mental model. Step 1 is explore. Here, you're using the AI to brainstorm and research. You're basically collaborating with it like a peer. Step 2 is design. This is where you have to step back and think like a leader. You alone have to decide how to solve the problem at hand based on that initial research. And finally, Step 3, execute. Now, you write the prompt to instruct the AI like a highly specific, no-nonsense manager, telling it exactly how to assemble the solution you just designed.
When you hit that execution phase, you really should use what we call the prompting operating system. It's basically a checklist of 6 mandatory questions you need to answer in your prompt. Number 1, role. Who should the AI act as? 2, context. Why does this task even exist? 3 is objective. What does success look like? 4, format. Do you want bullets, a table, maybe a memo? 5 is tone. Should it be analytical or more of a formal leadership voice? And 6, constraints. What should the AI absolutely avoid doing? You got to spell it out, because unstated assumptions leave you with uncontrolled risk.
Let's zero in on role and context for just a second, because a lot of people think simply adding more context means getting better output, but it doesn't. We need to filter for signal over noise. Assigning a role like act as a risk assessor or internal auditor provides a fantastic cognitive lens that really focuses the AI. But telling it, you are a genius consultant? Yeah, that's just useless fluff. Be super careful not to overload your prompts with generic history or irrelevant backstory. You have to funnel all that narrative fluff down into strictly decision-relevant facts and explicit constraints. If you don't, the AI's reasoning quality is going to severely degrade.
All right, Section 4, calibrating for quality. Let's look at the verification loop.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is it exposes a trap we literally all fall into. Look at the left, the dump and pray workflow. This is where you paste 50 pages of complex financial reports right into the chat, type "Give me insights," and just cross your fingers. Doing that creates an incredibly high cognitive load on the AI, and it almost always leads to vague, hallucinated outputs. Instead, we absolutely must use the decompose workflow. You do it sequentially. Prompt 1 extracts the key metrics. Prompt 2 compares them. Prompt 3 structures the narrative, and Prompt 4 validates the logic. Breaking it down step by step is exactly how you guarantee precision.
Achieving that high quality is an active loop of calibration. Step 1, you ask with your initial prompt. Step 2, you observe and validate. Really analyze that output to see where the AI misunderstood your intent. Step 3, you refine by adding more clarity, some constraints, or maybe a few examples. And Step 4, you rerun the improved prompt. Now, I want to be super clear here. Going through this loop is not an inefficiency. It is absolutely not a waste of time. This is literally the expected, necessary calibration of intelligence to get professional-grade results.
But, even with the absolute best prompting framework, there are always risks. Which actually leads me to ask you a really critical question. What do you think is the single most dangerous moment when using generative AI in the workplace? Think about it for a second.
Well, the most dangerous moment is when a highly plausible but completely incorrect output bypasses your human judgment. Think about it. If the AI writes a terrible, obvious, weak draft, that's super easy to spot and fix, right? The real danger is a beautifully written, highly confident document that secretly contains hidden factual errors. Remember our very first point today? The AI optimizes for fluency, not facts. Fluency is not fact. You must always challenge the assumptions and absolutely never just blindly accept an output. At the end of the day, your human judgment is always the final word. Which brings us to Section 5, non-negotiable security guardrails. When it comes to protecting corporate data, these are the absolute strict boundaries we have to live by.
To make this crystal clear, we use a data sensitivity classification matrix. In the green safe zone, things like public info, brainstorming, generic templates, that's perfectly fine to put right into Spark Assist. In the yellow caution zone, draft analyses, internal summaries, those are okay, provided you are heavily verifying them. But look closely at the red zone. This is the no Gen AI zone. Final rating decisions, material non-public information or MNPI, and absolutely any confidential unpublished client data must never, under any circumstances, be fed into the AI, period. To sum up our operational security, here are your 4 non-negotiable critical guardrails. Number 1. Never input sensitive data. If you're ever in doubt, leave it out. Number 2, always fact check and verify. Literally treat every single AI output as an unverified first draft.
Number 3, respect copyright and intellectual property. Always generate original content. And number 4, which is arguably the most important rule of the whole shebang, you are always accountable. You are the final owner and approver of any content you use. The AI doesn't take the blame if something goes wrong, you do.
Let's wrap up this explainer with a provocative final thought. A one-line truth to carry with you into all your work going forward. Gen AI does not replace human judgment. It amplifies the quality of thinking that we feed into it. The AI might be doing the typing, but you absolutely must do the thinking. So the question is, are you ready to elevate the quality of the thinking you bring to the machine? Start applying these structured frameworks today and honestly, watch your outputs transform. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and happy prompting.